Big pleasure to call on stage Ines Bergmann of EON. I understand they are a big utility.
Yes, we are.
Welcome. And here's your motivational handshake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Ines Bergmann, and I'm going to introduce you today to strategic co-investments. We are the corporate venture group at EON, and we are based out of Düsseldorf. We are around for about 2 years now, which is not that long of a time, but within this time frame we have made 10 investments already, of which 9 we rolled out commercially within the EON Group. Before I tell you a little bit more about strategic co-investments in detail, I like to talk about the EON Group in general. So some of you might think, why is she telling us that? And I think there are 2 major reasons. So the one is that you all hear a lot of bad news about EON and why we cannot do a lot of things. But I believe we still have a lot of great assets and skills. And the other reason is that a lot of these assets and skills are still the basis for moving into the new energy world. And what are those things? So first of all, we have 35 million customers across our markets. We have 5 gigawatts of renewable energy installed, and we have invested 9 billion into renewable energy sources, and we plan to even invest more. And one other very important thing, just beginning of this year, E.ON has launched its new vision, improving people's lives, and by that we really aim to transform the company from a provider of commodities to a company of, or provider of energy solutions and services. And our objective is really to operate in a cleaner and better way everywhere we are. So looking at strategic co-investments, I'd like to briefly introduce to you where we invest, so what our focus areas are, what type of investments we do, how we do that, so what's the internal process we have at E.ON, and why we do that and what are the benefits of that. So here you see our focus areas. We currently have 4 focus areas and 1/5 overarching one. So the first one is around residential and commercial energy solutions. The second one about smart grids, the third one about distributed energy and mobility, and the fourth one about renewables and storage. And the fifth one, as I was pointing out, is overarching and about IT and intelligence. What type of investments we do? We have 4 major building blocks of the type of investments we do. So from the company perspective, we look at companies that are later into a growth stage already in, and we look for companies that already have strong syndicate partners and co-investors on board. On the product side of those companies, we look for startups that already have products which we can commercially roll out and which external innovation we can eventually absorb into our core business. And on the 4th building block, the financial side, we do minority stake investments, and the typical size of these investments ranges from 2 to 5 million per company. Last not least, on the governance sides, we typically aim for having a board seat in the companies we invest in. So how do we co-invest? And I think that's a very important part to understand our internal process and setup. So we, as strategic co-investment, we are part of technology and innovation at E.ON, the central innovation unit. And this is very important because we are not just a pure investment arm of the company, but we are embedded within the business, and we are also perceived by our colleagues with the business units like this. And a great advantage, as I believe, is that we very closely cooperate with our colleagues from what we call, and what you see here in the execution box, our innovation centers. And those are people driving forward innovation and really coming from our business units. And they are known and trusted within our business units, and they help us bring the new ideas to our business units and our to markets eventually. Another advantage of our setup is that technology and innovation holds all product innovation budget centrally, and by that we have the opportunity to also push forward projects that are not necessarily yet prioritized within our business units or not within that speed of time. And furthermore, of course, it helps us to also introduce certain projects where the business unit does not necessarily see the immediate need for taking action, but we can start rolling out those projects and products from day one on. So why do we co-invest? And it's really for us about creating a win-win situation for the startup company and also for E.ON. And I think I already hinted at that during my speech so far, that we really, and as the team, work really hard to grow our portfolio companies within the wider E.ON organization. And we are not just the investment arm, and we are not only, in short, to say dumb money. We really work hard on a daily basis to bring those companies into our business. And on the E.ON side, what's the concrete benefit? So we, of course, aim to bringing external innovation into the company. And we also like, of course, by bringing a commercial deal to the company, get information and capital to de-risk those commercial deals. And last but not least, of course, we like to leverage the upside from the investment into that company, of course. And also, I like to illustrate the benefits for our portfolio companies by some of the examples you see here, very short. And the first one to start with is First Fuel. So First Fuel is offering a rapid building analytics platform, including tools from customer engagement to remote energy audits. And that company we are currently rolling, and that company and their product we are currently rolling out to one of our largest markets. And not only that, but we just also set up a new and easy contractual process to kind of quickly scale now their product across other regional markets. Orcan, another company you yesterday briefly met. So just for Orcan, we have set up an own organizational unit which now helps driving the sales of their product out of E.ON. Cubotics, one of our more recent investments, a company providing dual-axis trackers for ground-mounted solar and really pioneering, by robotics, the solar operation side. Our business units, the renewable units, likes them that much and is that much convinced that they kind of take their product now in every tender they are going out with in the market. And last example I like to bring is Sungevity, also one of our recent investments, a global provider of solar. And that company we are currently rolling, and their product we are introducing to 2 markets currently. And one market is now taking that product and doing the rollout fully by themselves without any T&I support, and that's when we are really happy and when we really see that we as strategic co-investment can bring innovation to E.ON and to the wider company. So that's, in short, E.ON strategic co-investment. Happy to further discuss and engage with you, because I personally believe the path for E.ON into the new energy world, it's about partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ines. So you are not only investing, but you are really bringing revenue to the startups you invest in, right?
Yes, that's our aim, and I think we already have proven that with a couple of our companies.
Did you prove it? Did you bring revenue with all of the portfolio companies or the majority of them up to now?
So the majority, so 9, as I said, we have commercial deals in place. And of course, as we move, of course, we plan to further scale that also with the already existing ones.
And do you sometimes help startups, even if you don't invest, to become a customer of EON?
Yes, so there are cases, so it's not every startup right for an investment, and some solutions might be something just for a particular market, and there we also make the introduction and are happy to help, and that's of course something where we see the broader benefit of the company.
Okay, so she's a really important point of contact into EON across many countries. Do you have a question for Ines?
I certainly see the win-win situation working together with smart startups which have a link to EON's core business. There are plenty of reasons why this makes a lot of sense. There's probably one sensitive point. This is the ownership of intellectual capital. So if a startup company has some very special intellectual property, so how is it handled in a way? Is it really maintained in the startup company where you just have minority, or is it migrating also to the EON world? I think it's a little bit sensitive topic.
So, of course, that is a topic that is contractually solved, but I think there are 2 cases to differentiate. So the one case where you have the IP that the company is bringing before we cooperate, and then there's the IP that is developed over the time we are working with that company. And of course, in the first case, the IP the company is bringing, that's something that will stay in that company, and we are not touching. But of course, on the other side, where we really work on co-developments and develop joint IP, that's of course something we also want to participate on.
Does EON want to become a technology company itself? Do you foresee acquisitions of great technology startups in the future, or do you think you keep on doing what you are doing and just a little bit of minority investment here and there is enough?
So I think there is no clear yes and no answer to that yet. As I said, we are two years around, and that's a decision I think we very soon have to make. But I think, as I see that, why not? It's definitely an option we should consider in that option pool of partnering.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ines. Pleasure having you on stage.